Good evening, everybody. It's the Pollinator. I recently had eye surgery last Thursday, so I'm not seeing too good. I was gonna make a vlog. I promised to make a vlog about the 7 deadly sins, but guess what? I can't see too good, even with my glasses on. So, and I just had the most brutal, pain-filled weekend of my entire life because my eye surgeon, oh, you know what? Okay, my eye surgeon did not think that this surgery was going to be painful after the fact. And I had it done before the weekend. I had my follow-up on Friday. And I was still under the, my body was still feeling the pain medicine that they had given me on Thursday. So the pain didn't hit me until Friday night. And by that time, you know, doctors don't work weekends. Only emergency room doctors work weekends. And so I had a very crazy weekend of the most incredible pain. I'm not going to go into everything about that. Because I have something in particular I wanted to bring up as I've observed humanity in a very different way over the last 3 years or so. By the way, I have this oversized contact in this eye. I can see the edge. I can see the edges of the contact. It's so thick and it's so big and it's bugging the hell out of me. Now I know why he said, you know, most people after about 5 days they can't take it anymore and they ask them to take it out. I'm ready for him to take it out now, and I have to keep this thing in here until Friday. But so my topic, this topic, you know, I find it real interesting because this word is more particular to cisgender men, and that word is deadbeat. And this society, I don't know about other countries, but in the United States there is a phenomenon going on with cisgender men who like to impregnate women and then be deadbeats about their children and not take care of their children. But this version of deadbeat that I want to talk about is something that I have observed in going on more and more and more and more and more in humanity, which is, you know, I've got some really cool friends. Some of them, I have not met them. You know, I just talk to them on social media or I talk to them over the phone. And there seems to be a whole generation, it doesn't even matter which generation, but people have flipped into this version of being a deadbeat, a loafer, someone who sponges off of people. You know, I've got friends who every week, it seems that I see them, you know, not crying their head off, but, you know, complaining about their deadbeat friends, their deadbeat partners, man, woman, or other. Being a deadbeat is not particular to a gender. There's deadbeat family, deadbeat people. Businesses are deadbeat businesses. They sponge. They try to get as much from you without giving as much to you. And the reason why this came up is because I had a deadbeat friend that I just, finally, I said, you know what, enough. Enough of listening to all your problems, tending to all your needs, listening to you, and then when I need you, I get excuses. And this has been going on for a while. And another friend, a friend of mine, he has family in his life. He has friends in his life. And so do lots and lots of people who those friends just sponge off of you, whether it's emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, verbally, spiritually. They're great, big, huge sponges walking around in society and don't give a crap that they're sponges. I call them users. They use people. You know, they try to get away with... You ever work with somebody who you could tell they were just doing enough to get by? And while you're working your ass off, this one, you know, next to you or whatever, within eyesight of you, is just doing enough to not end up in trouble and get fired, which is, to me, the definition of underachiever. They ain't trying to achieve shit. They're just trying to get paid. So yeah, I had this so-called friend who, I was in so much pain Friday night when I spoke to her. She had no fucking idea what happened to me during the surgery and just went off sideways on me about some shit that was going on in her family right after my surgery and telling me I was worried about the wrong things. Oh, really? So, pain is not a concern. I'm the only one that saw that I got to that surgery, that I got out of that surgery. God saw to it to wake me up. But that friend who I was there for when their family members passed away, and their family members were sick, and their family members were this, and their children were that, and I was there listening and supporting that friend through every single fucking thing she went through. And when I need her, anytime I've needed her within, I'd say, the last 2 or 3 years, all I get is excuses. Oh, my phone wasn't working, this and that. Just a bunch of bullshit. Because I saw that person online who had enough time to check on me and see how my surgery went after the surgery happened, after their so-called phone wasn't working, after all of this, had enough time to say 3 words. Are you okay? I didn't even get that. All I got was bullshit because I called her on it. I called her on the carpet for not checking in on me when everybody and their mother who wasn't in my inner circle had checked on me about this surgery. She actually forgot, so she says. But, you know, listen, that's some deadbeat sponge-ass behavior, because I have been there for that person for almost everything that has occurred in their life. So, and then not only that, you know, then I start thinking about all of the dead-ass people running around. And what I mean by dead is they have no passion, they have no spark, they have no light. You know, they may be funny people occasionally or whatnot, but basically they're walking around life like zombies. They don't have anything that lights them up, that they can contribute to their friends, or friends like me who gives that to them in droves. They have nothing to give back in return. And I'm sorry, I don't believe in... The only unconditional love I know exists in this world is that of parents. But when it comes to friends and it comes to partners and relationships, I mean, look at, you know, why is the divorce rate so high? Because there is no such thing as conditional love. You don't get to just take, or give, and have that relationship work out. And it doesn't matter whether it's an intimate relationship or a friendship or any kind of relationship. If it's not a give and take going on somehow, some way, not item for item or word for word or like that, but if you're not getting anything out of those relationships and they're getting it all from you, it's not going to work. It's not going to be in your best interest. They do not have your best interest at heart if they're the only ones that are benefiting from that friendship, from that relationship, whether it be family, whether it be friends, whether it be spouse, whether it be whatever kind of human relationship there is. It cannot survive one-sided. And what made me finally cuss that bitch out is that she wanted to argue about the fact that I have been ignored through my surgery, after my surgery, and neglected, basically. Wanted to dispute that that is what happened for me. The way I felt was like she could give a shit as long as I was there for all the crap that was going on in her family's life. She thinks I should put them first. Excuse me, I had major surgery. I was under general anesthesia. They cut all of the layers of skin off of my fucking eye and put on the placenta from a mother's womb on my eye, put a huge contact over that and stuck it back together and woke me up and sent me home. That was major surgery. I am not going to bail out on myself when I'm the only one I got that's caring about this stuff intimately. To pay attention to what surgery was going on in her family, which happens every damn week. I mean, I don't put those trips on people. I have family members who are sick. I have friends who are having issues and stuff like that out there. But when somebody needs me and they really need me, I am there for them. I don't give them excuses not to be there for them. I don't bail out on them to, life is a juggle. Life is a great big multitasking thing. You never ever are just doing one thing alone. Maybe even your job. While you're doing your job, if you're proficient at your job, while you're doing your job, you're actually thinking about other things. You're actually working other things out in your head. There is no such thing as I can only pay attention to one person at one time type of attitude that I was getting from this so-called friend, which it was like, you know what? I have been on the phone while she was paying attention to at least 5 different people, including me, and the internet, and conversations going on in the background, and could keep up with all of them. So, what a big fat lie that she could not see about me in the midst of seeing about her or the family members who apparently had something going on. I don't know. I went off. I just lost it. I was like, you know what? I've had it. I've had it with this selfish. The world has become very, very selfish. Human beings on this planet have become me, my. It's all about me. And you know what? It's going to be our undoing. And it fits into some of these 7 deadly sins that I wanted to talk about that I can't see on this piece of paper. Because I was going to do that vlog from some notes I took about these words, about these 7 deadly sins. Now, I'm not religious, but one of the things that turns me off about Christianity is the number of people who engage fully in one or more or all of these 7 deadly sins and then thinks that they're being good people. Deadbeat about all of these sins. They pick and choose which ones that they will pay any attention to and say, oh, I'm not sinning and I'm a good person because at least I'm not doing that one. Or at least I'm not doing that one. Well, the way I was taught, and I wasn't taught in a religious manner, I was taught in a spiritual manner. You engage in any of these and you are not doing right by people or yourself. Any of them. Any one of them. So there's 7 of them. And in other languages, other religions, there's like freaking 15, 20 of them, especially Muslims. So, it's like, what people let themselves get away with in their head and justify their behavior and not feel somehow, I don't want to use the word guilty, but responsible and accountable to not be that way with people. Or you're going to end up, you look like a fucking loafer, lazy, and a sponge if you cannot take time out to give to those who have given to you directly. That is my definition of usury. And I see it so much. That's what's blowing me away. It's not just happening to me. It's happening to me, people that I know well, people I don't know so well. It's happening to strangers. People are hitting me up constantly on fucking social media trying to get you pulled into something that they want you to do. And they're doing all this while not supporting your dreams, while not supporting your passions. They just, come look at me, come join me, come do what I'm doing, come over here, come over here. Get all the attention. Attention glory hogs, attention pigs, I would say, where they're the only ones that want the attention. And I don't know if this is more, because I'm heterosexual, I noticed that women are more that way than men. Just the attention thing is like, oh my God. I've been with women who needed a lot of attention, but I was willing to give it to them because they were giving me attention. See, I don't just, it's never, ever one-sided with me. I don't know how to take advantage of people. Maybe I do know how, but I've never done that. I've always, going to people is my last resort. After I've tried everything else to find a solution to a problem that I'm having, whether it's emotionally, financially, physically, spiritually, whatever. I always tried my best, my damnedest to not use people to get anywhere in life. I didn't do it with my career. I joined the military when I was 20. I actually joined it when I was 19, but I didn't go in until I was 20. And I did everything for myself. Maybe it's the generation I come from. I don't know. But it seems to me there's a whole bunch of entitled motherfuckers running around out there who think the world owes them something because they were hurt by somebody else. They were hurt by something else. They were hurt somewhere else. And they think everybody in front of them owes them for what happened back there in the past. Now that's, look, there's these things called paradigms. And for the most part, people's paradigms in life is that who they are is accumulation of all their past experiences. And that's it. Nothing else is in that paradigm, except you're supposed to go back and work through all the shit that happened to you in the past in order to get freed up in the present and in the future. Now, that does work over time and with a lot of work and with somebody who really, really, really wants to go back there and dig all that shit up and work through it. Most people don't. Most people just go on the rest of their lives with whatever grudges they're carrying from shit that happened to them in their past, and they drag that baggage into current relationships with people. Any kind of relationship. I'm not talking about intimacy, but any kind of relationship. They will drag that shit around with them like an anchor, like a great big old Santa Claus bag of toys, but it ain't toys, it's poison. And then they dump it on people around them, the people who are closest to them. they will dump their garbage. Not the good stuff, the garbage. Now, I do have some really good friends who would never done that, who would never do that. But the ones who do, man, I'm telling you, I'm sorry, I don't have any tolerance for that anymore. The older I get, the less tolerant I am of bullshit from people. Anybody, businesses, people. I just wasn't raised to look the other way when bullshit is going on. And if somebody picks up a ton of their own bullshit and throws it at me, I might duck, catch it, sling it right back at them. I don't come from this turn the other cheek thing and let them slap you on the other side. I don't come from that train of thought. I am glad that religious doctrine has not gotten into me to unlearn that way of being, because I will stick up for myself as much as possible. Do I fail at that sometimes? Yeah. Yeah, I've let that friend hang around longer than I should have, and use me, knowing that I'm not getting anything back. And I experienced a lot of that with my sister as well. But see, with my sister, I had this unconditional love for her. I mean, I'd known her all of her life. I didn't know that friend all of her life. I wasn't there, part of her past, or whatever, or his past. Could be a guy, too. Could be a non-binary, too. An other. But, see, I don't owe anybody anything. But there are some people walking around that make you feel like you owe them something just for being in their life. Like their shit don't fucking stink and they're not spongers and being a sponge, and that you owe them allowing yourself to be sponged off of. I tell you what, a whole lot of people need to get a reality check about that, and really need to get it between the eyes that it's not okay to walk around like a victim who turns around and becomes a perpetrator because of the victimization that happened to them in the past. This is how this is how abuse gets carried down from generation to generation to generation, is that nobody in between takes accountability and responsibility for healing that brokenness that happened in their past, and they become abusers. They become abusive. And then when they abuse you and you bop them right back, they accuse you of being the abuser. See, that's the tricky thing about these people, is that they run around convincing the world that they're great and they got it all together and they're not hurting nobody when they are. And then when you get fed up with their bullshit and bonk them upside the head about it, they still turn around and scream victim. They still turn around and justify their behavior by your reaction to their behavior instead of the behavior itself. It's like the difference between people who, knowing they got caught speeding, people who are upset because they got caught, versus people who are upset because they know they broke the law. There's a big difference between those two kind of characters. The ones who are pissed off that they got caught will keep committing that same crime over and over and over again, because they're like pathological about it. They don't even care that they're committing that crime. Well, there are crimes of the heart. There are crimes of the mind. There are crimes of the emotions that a lot of people don't really give a crap that they're actually doling that shit out on people that they say they love. They say they love. Could you imagine a world where everybody was conscious that they were doing this and knocked it off? Stop doing that. Be givers. whether it's emotionally, their time, their emotions, their mind, their kindness, their compassion, their passion. Could you imagine what this world would be like if everybody was thinking about what they were contributing to the world, not just their little circle? You know, where they have some people that are in that circle and some people they pull in and kick back out of that circle. I'm not talking about just your little family unit, but everybody that you came in contact, if you tried to give something to them versus getting something from them. If everybody did that on the planet, you know what? All of the world's problems will have gone away. Businesses are greedy. They're just worried about their bottom line, and they're doing the bare minimum to keep the money flowing, to keep them rolling in dough, to keep their roof over their head, but they're not really caring about their fellow man. The healthcare industry, wait till I tell the story about what happened this time with this surgery. It's a business. It's motivated by money. It's not motivated by caring as much as it's motivated by money. So I didn't want to make this, well, I can't even now. I really can't even see at all what that time says. But I've been talking a while. I just wanted to say that, you know what? Deadbeats are not just men and parents. It can be any kind of person about any kind of thing. As long as they're sponging off of you and they're being lazy and not thinking for themselves, thinking good things, thinking of doing good things for people besides their children and their spouse. I'm talking about outside of that circle. People have gotten really comfortable in being lazy and shiftless and not having integrity. You know, not walking what they're talking, which is another reason why I do not like organized religions. People talk, but if you observe their walk, they're walking in a completely different direction than the shit that's coming out of their mouth openly, publicly. The last thing I'm going to say about this so-called friend is this friend has their family thinking that if something really came up for me, they would be there for me. Now, this is what she's telling her family. But yet, in the entire time I've known her, she has rarely been there for any of the events of my life. Although I'm there, I was there constantly for stuff going on with hers, even though I wasn't physically there. I was emotionally there. I was hooked in. I was present to her pain. I was present to the things that she was saying. I helped her through a lot of stuff, including cancer. And yet I have surgery, a major surgery, that I may not have made it out of there. And that person couldn't be there, couldn't even check on me, even though they were online at the same time I was, and hurried up and got off without saying anything to me. Now, what'd that look like to you? Yeah, I'm making that mean something. Deadbeat. Selfish. Self-centered. People need to start caring more about people around them than just their children and their spouse. Their friends count too. So I didn't even kindly, I let her have it and told her she was a lousy fucking friend, and I was tired of that friendship. There's just no way that was going to fly with me, to be that selfish and that self-centered and that conceited and all in the me stuff. Yeah, people like to say millennials are like that, but guess what? This particular individual is not a millennial. And I know of other individuals that are like that too. Even around social media where they're doing the me, look at me, listen to me thing. And they're not looking and listening to anybody else. They're not supporting anybody else. They're just supporting their own agenda. Which is why I do the live videos that I do, because they're not, I bring up the topics, but it's up to them to talk about what they want to talk about inside of those topics, as long as, you know, we stay between the lines. But it's just a way for me to show humanity how to get out of your own life and look at somebody else's, who you may not even know. I think that's important. I think that would go a long way within the black community if we did that sort of thing more often, especially men. Now, the women have been doing that for a long time, but the men seem to not have that same kind of cohesion, that same kind of wanting to know what's going on in another man's mind, wanting to know what's going on in another man's life, wanting to know, just wanting to know, wanting to be involved in something that isn't just their life. I do it every day. That is what makes me an international mentor, is I'm a mentor for a lot of fucking people, and I know the stories of a lot of people, and I know what's going on in a lot of people's lives. I'm not all about Ray. And I'm not doing that for myself, because half of the time, those people are getting on my nerves. I have a love-hate relationship with people. I love them, I hate them, they get on my nerves. But I've got a big heart, and I do love humanity. It's just, you know, certain individuals and certain people just get on my last nerve. I'm a Virgo. I just had a birthday last Sunday. Not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before. And there are things that I was a lot more tolerant about in my youth, when I was younger. Even as young as in my 50s. That I'm no longer willing to, I need to make my circle even smaller. Even though it's already pretty small, but people try to find angles to get to me, to use me. That kind of manipulation ain't flying. I see it. But what's obnoxious about that is I'm the only one that sees it. They don't. The manipulators don't see they're manipulating. The users don't see they're using. The deadbeats don't see they're deadbeats. They've got TV shows, you know, about this sort of thing, where these people are getting busted being that way. And even as you're watching it, you can see they don't know they're being that way. And they don't care that they're being that way. That's the kicker. I care when I care when I have, well, I don't have much hair. You can see I'm not bald anymore. I let it grow back. But I have one little hair out of line in my psyche, and I'm caring about that. I'm not just passing that off like that's not happening. I have a temper. I'll cuss your ass out in a heartbeat. Am I kind of looking at that and working? Do I care about that? Yeah, more so. I'm a very nice guy, and I'm a lot of fun to be around. But when you provoke me, I'll bite your fucking head off. So, and it just depends on the situation whether or not that happens quickly or it happens slowly. If somebody's doing that constantly, they're going to get it constantly, and then I have to get my distance from that, because that's not healthy for me to be that upset. It was not healthy for me to be that upset after that surgery when I was in so much pain. Being that upset that that friend did not follow up and give one fucking iota that I was hurting and that I was in a lot of pain. My eye felt like somebody blew a torch, was blowing a fire torch on my eye. Every time I closed it, I couldn't keep it closed. I had to keep getting up, putting all sorts of drops in it, trying. I didn't have any pain medicine. I mean, it was just a mess. And did that person even care or even know? Mm-mm. Just lit into me about some nonsense that was going on in her family, and I was like, you know what? Right now, this isn't about you, and it isn't about them. I'm being about me. And that's what another friend of mine said. He's going to start being about himself because people are just trying to run him over with sponging off of him. And at a certain point, you get tired of that, and you got to pull back and be about yourself because nobody else will, because everybody's trying to be about themselves. You know, there's an exercise in the forum, in the Landmark forum, where it's the fear exercise, and okay, I don't want to give it away. Nah, I don't want to give it away. But there is something that people do that everybody does it. Everybody has it going on inside. It's just a matter of degree how much you recognize that it's there. But once you do know that it's there and you see it for what it is, you become fearless. Fearless in a good way, not fearless in an obnoxious way where you become a bully. Even a bully with a soft voice doesn't. It's still a bully. You know, I told that friend, you know, being smugly rude is still rude. It's still being rude. It doesn't matter that you can put pretty words on it and manage not to, you know, be rude with a smile type of person. I need to run, Forrest, run from shit like that. Run, Forrest, run. It's like, oh, no, 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 don't cut me in the neck while you're smiling. Don't take a knife and stab me in the heart smiling. What the fuck kind of evil shit is that? I wouldn't even think to do that to somebody. To get my way about something or to be selfish about something. I don't get it. So yeah, when I was looking around for an image that I'm going to put on this video, all I kept seeing was deadbeat dad, deadbeat dad, deadbeat dad, deadbeat dad. But I found some that weren't talking about dad, and because I wanted to talk about deadbeat people, deadbeat government, deadbeat businesses, deadbeats. They're running all over the planet, and they're going to destroy it because they're being deadbeats in here, and they're being all about themselves, and they're being about their bottom line, and they're just being about themselves and maybe a few people around them. That is why there is this crazy patriarchal society going on, maybe worldwide. I think that patriarchal is in every aspect of every society on the planet. But it screws up the idea of being equal. It screws up all sorts of things because it's not true that there is not a patriarchy in societies. Yes, there very much is. And depending on who you are, you're either at the top of that or you're not at the top of that or you're somewhere in between. People need to lift each other up when other ones are down. People need to stop snatching people who are up to try to pull them down to their level, or they're going to weaken them to the point where they're not going to be able to pull them out of the water, pull them up. You know, that is my theory for why a lot of black celebrities and rich people do not try to jump in bed with impoverished people, because for every one that tries to do that, 30, 50, 100, 1,000 people are going to be pulling on them to gimme a hand out, not a hand up. We are the only race of people in this country that fucking does that. It comes from slavery, but everything that came from that period of time can only be undone if it's recognized to begin with. You don't recognize your own anti-blackness going on, you can't do nothing about it. You'll just be walking around acting out of that way of being the rest of your life. If you don't address and acknowledge and recognize your own slave mentality, then you will operate within that mentality the rest of your life. No matter who you hurt, no matter who you pull down, no matter who you slap with it, no matter what you do to anybody with it, if you don't recognize it, you're going to get away with it like a pathological liar. You don't recognize stuff. You can't address stuff. If most of your psyche exists in your blind spots, you don't know shit. You better get into some self-awareness. You better get into exposing those blind spots, especially some of y'all running around here 70% in the blind about who you're being in the world. Hell, that's the definition of growing up. You know, as kids, we don't know anything, and then we grow up and we become responsible adults. And it isn't just being responsible for your job and your direct family members. Now, we've got bigger responsibilities than that, people. That's why we have a government. That's why there's politics. There's all sorts of responsibilities going on in this world. Bills, all sorts of things going on that we need to be more responsible for than we're being. I'm maxed out. I keep the pedal to the metal and live my life with integrity and a lot of responsibilities that I don't mind as long as somebody's not fucking using me. But if they're doing that, bye. See you later, bye. So, at least my eye's not burning at the moment, but I took a pain medicine. So, I don't know what's going to happen when I shut them. But I just want to thank you to the people who reached out to me to see how I was doing. And I let you know I'm hanging in here. It's healing, and then I got to get the other eye done the same way. But they're gonna give me pain medicine before I even do the surgery. I'm not gonna be left hanging out without anything and endure the kind of pain I endured this last weekend. No way am I gonna let that happen again. But everybody have okay, this is the beginning of the week. Everybody have a blessed, productive, kind, wonderful week. And the pollinator is out.